Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shashitala Kamala Koti Chandra Shashitala Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Eno Nitai Bineva Jai Chaya Jagata Jurai Jai Chaya Jagata Jurai Eno Nitai Bine Bhai Radha Krishna Bhaite Nai Gita Kori Taro Nitai Bhai Se Sambandha Nahi Jai Rita Janma Gelokai Se Pashu Goro Duracha Se Pashu Goro Duracha Nitai Na Bolilo Muke Majilo Sangsara Suke Vidya Kule Hikori Beta Vidya Kule Hikori Beta Ahankare Mata Hoya Nitai Pada Pasariya Ahankare Mata Hoya Nitai Pada Pasariya Attakere Satya Kori Mani Attakere Satya Kori Mani Nityaya Karuna Have Braje Radha Krishna Pabe Nityaya Karuna Have Braje Radha Krishna Pabe Daro Nitai Charana Dukayani Daro Nitai Charana Dukani Nitaya Charana Satya Rahara Sevaka Nitya Nitaya Charana Satya Tahara Sevaka Nitya Nityapada Sadakuravasa. Nityapada Sadakuravasa. Naratama Borodiki Nitamore Korotiki. Naratama Borodiki Nitamore Korotiki. Rako Ranga Charanira Pasa. Rako Ranga Charanira Pasa. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Gaur Hare Bol. Nitai Gaur Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Gaur Premanandi, Haribo. Everyone together, please. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are a shelter where one will get this real peace. It should take shelter of Lord Nityananda. Unless one takes shelter under the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, it will be very difficult for him to approach Radha and Krishna. If one actually wants to enter into the dancing party of Radha Krishna, he must firmly catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Anyone who has not established his relationship with Nityananda Prabhu is understood to have spoiled his valuable human birth. Such a human being is actually an uncontrollable animal. Because he never uttered the holy name of Nityananda, he has become merged into so-called material happiness. What can help Mrs. Education and family tradition do to help him? Maddened after false prestige and identification with the body, one is thinking, oh, what is Nityananda? What can he do for me? I don't care. The result is that he is accepting something false to be truth. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha and Krishna, you must first achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda. When he is merciful toward you, then you will be able to approach Radha and Krishna. Therefore, you should firmly grasp the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion. They are a fact. One who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. This Narottam Das is very unhappy. Therefore, I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. My dear Lord, please keep me close to your lotus feet. Srila Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This is Srila Prabhupada's translation of this bhajan, so we're hearing directly from him as our Shastra this morning. So Lord Nityananda here on the altar, he is the brother of Lord Chaitanya. Now, we generally think of God as the Father, but God is not a lonely person, an isolated person, an orphan with no parents, a single only child. He has parents, he has siblings, and he has all sorts of relations. So his brother is Nityananda. In fact, whenever the Lord descends, he comes with his entourage, including his brothers. So we chant Hare Krishna. Krishna is the original form of God. And when he descends, he comes with his brother Balaram. In a prior incarnation, he came as Lord Ram. We say Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So Ram, an ancient appearance of the Lord, also had a brother. His name was Lakshmana. Lord Krishna's brother was named Balaram. And then in his most recent appearance, Lord Chaitanya, his brother is Nityananda. So in the appearance of Lord Ram, millions of years ago, his brother Lakshmana was his younger brother. So Ram, he was the heir to the throne, and he was going to become the next king. But due to political intrigue in the palace, he was banished to the forest for 13 years. So Ram, being the ideal personality, accepted this unfair banishment without protest. He simply said, "This is my father's desire, I will do it." But his brother Lakshman was telling him, no, you should fight. This is your throne, you should fight for it. But Ram wouldn't hear of it. He wasn't going to fight. So they went to the forest, and Ram's dear wife, Sita, could not bear the idea of Ram leaving her. So she said, "I want to go with you to the forest." She was a princess accustomed to living in the palace. And Lakshmana said, "This is a terrible idea. You do not want to bring your wife to the forest." Epic is told. So Lakshmana was a little frustrated. I told him not to go to the forest. He went anyway. I told him not to bring Sita anyway. Look at all this trouble there's at. Next birth, I'm going to be the older brother, and then he'll have to listen to me. So before Lord Krishna appeared, Lord Balaram came first, and Balaram, his elder brother, grew up with Krishna, tending the cows in Vrindavan. They were inseparable. Sometimes Krishna would massage his elder brother's feet, and in this way they had this very sweet relationship until they got a little older, and then things sometimes were not exactly lined up. For example, Balaram wanted the rather rascally Duryodhana to marry their sister Subhadra. And he was set on this when Krishna came to visit. Now, Krishna's friend Arjuna wanted to also marry Subhadra. So it was all set for Duryodhana. And you might ask, why would Balaram have a rascal like Duryodhana marrying his sister? Duryodhana created all kinds of trouble. He was very manipulative, greedy, treacherous. So why would Balaram want this personality to marry his own dear sister? Well, the reason is, getting back to that story about the rich man and the jewels, that Lord Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. So all the people, all the jivas, all the living entities who want to be with Krishna are with him in the spiritual world. All the ones who don't want to be with him are in Florida, Texas, and other similar places. So out of his mercy, Lord Krishna's first expansion is that personality who comes to help those who are missing out on their sublime right to be associated with Krishna. You see? So Balaram is that person. Krishna is dealing with all the devotees, and Balaram is dealing with everybody else, like Duryodhana. So out of his mercy, he wants to accommodate Duryodhana. So Krishna advised Arjuna, you please, Arjuna was a Kshatriya, a householder, a warrior. He said, but you dress up like a renunciate, like a sannyasi, and come into to visit Balaram and Subhadra. And if your disguise is good, they won't recognize you. So Arjuna disguised himself very expertly. And he caught Subhadra's eye, and Subhadra caught his eye, and they ran off together, much to the consternation of Balaram. So Krishna pacified. They're a nice couple, don't worry. Yes, he's very renounced. Later, Duryodhana's side and Arjuna's side got into this conflict. Actually, Arjuna, again, being a devotee, being very saintly, he and his brother Yudhisthira and others had all accepted the mistreatment that had been given them by Duryodhana and his party. And Duryodhana and his party stole the whole kingdom, which was by rights Arjuna's. But Arjuna, under the direction of his very saintly brother Yudhisthira, said, no, listen, you give us 5 villages. We're rulers, we're Kshatriyas, we have to have somewhere to rule. Just give us 5 villages, you take the rest of the world. And Duryodhana said, I won't give you enough land in which to drive a pin. So with that, there was no choice but to have a fight. So Arjuna's side, Duryodhana's side, Balaram and Krishna were related to both sides. So Balaram said, Krishna, let's just chill out, okay? Just don't take sides in this battle. But Krishna said, I'll tell you what, I have a big army. I'll give my army to one side and I'll just be on the other side, but I won't pick up any weapons. I won't fight. So Balaram knew exactly what was going on. So Krishna said, look, I'm going to do this, and whomever I see first, I will give them their choice, whether they want my huge army or me in a non-combat role. So Duryodhana and Arjuna were racing to Dwarka to get to Krishna first. And Duryodhana got there first, but Krishna was resting. So Duryodhana planted himself right in Krishna's face so that when he woke up, he would see him first. Then Arjuna arrived and very humbly sat at Krishna's feet, awaiting the Lord's awakening. So when Krishna woke up, he happened to look at his feet and he said, oh, Arjuna, you have come. And Duryodhana said, wait a minute, I was here first. And Krishna said, Duryodhana, he's your younger cousin. Let him have his choice. So Duryodhana very frustrated. And Arjuna said, I have my choice. Oh, my Lord, I want you on my side. And Krishna said, my entire huge army is going to go on the other side if you make that choice. That's all right. I just want you. So Duryodhana was thinking, what a fool. I got the army. And he just gets this Krishna who's not even going to pick up a bow. So Balaram, in spite of all of this, he was disgusted. Why is my younger brother fighting? I'm leaving. So he just went out on pilgrimage. And he resolved that next time, I'm not going to listen to anything my brother says. Older brother, I'm just not listening to anything he says. I'm doing whatever I want. So this is Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was born in a village called Ekachakra, and he was the son of a very pious Brahmin family, Hidayat Pandit and Padmavati. And so he was a very dear son. Everybody loved him. And from his very childhood, he and his friends would just reenact Krishna's pastimes over and over again, so expertly. The village people wondered, where did they learn all of this? And Lord Nityananda and his friends would enact the Mahabharata, they'd enact Bhagavatam pastime, and they had enacted Ramayana pastimes. So once when they were enacting the pastimes of Lord Ram, Lord Nityananda said, to his friends, I'm going to play Lakshmana, and I want you to remember to stay in character no matter what happens. So they proceeded, and they were reenacting a great battle in which Lakshmana was grievously wounded by Ravana's son Indrajit. So when this happened in the actual battle, Lakshmana was lying on the field, apparently dead. And all of Lord Ram and all of his associates were lamenting, we've lost our dear brother. But then the great servant of Lord Ram, Hanuman, said, there must be some cure. And a physician advised him, if you have this certain herb, you can revive Lakshmana, but it only grows on this distant mountain. So Hanuman said, I will go and find that herb and bring it back. So he went. So as they're reenacting this, the boys, one of the boys reenacted the role of Hanuman, and he went to look for the herb. And on the way, he had so many adventures. One boy pretended to be a crocodile in the local pond, and he reached up and grabbed the boy as he was walking by, and they wrestled in the water. And another boy played the role of yet another person who put up an obstacle. So they went through all of this. And meanwhile, Lord Nityananda is lying there on the ground, and everyone thinks he's dead. Everyone thinks he's dead. His parents are there, they're wailing, the villagers are lamenting, what happened to this little boy? And they're all just completely losing it. But the other boy is staying in character, Hanuman, and he comes back with the herbs. Then when they wave the herbs under the nostrils of Lord Nityananda, miraculously he comes back to life. So they played all of Krishna's pastimes so expertly. And again, everyone wondered, where did they learn all these things? So Hadai Pandit loved his son so very dearly. He wanted to just be with him all the time. He kept him with him always, everything they did together. One day, a visiting sannyasi came to the village of Ekachakra. So Hadai Pandit, the very pious Brahmin, received the sannyasi, fed him, cared for him, washed his feet, and treated him with the greatest respect. So the sannyasi thanked him. And as he was leaving, he said, I just have one request. Yes, Maharaj, whatever you desire. I would like to take your son with me for a few days. So as I'm traveling alone to these holy places, just for a few days, your son could please join me. So Hadai Pandit was in this terrible dilemma. He could not bear to live without Nityananda. At the same time, he could not turn down the request of this saintly person. It was exactly the same dilemma that was experienced by Lord Ram's father when with the Vashishta, when a great sage came to him. Vishwamitra came to him and made the same request. Dasarath Maharaj, please let me borrow your sons for a little while. So Dasarath was heartbroken, but he had no choice but to let his sons go. In that case, Dasarath's sons came back. But in the case of Lord Nityananda, he never came back. So Hadai Pandit, as they were leaving, he called out, Nityananda! And he fell to the ground. He didn't eat for 3 months. He was so distraught. So this was the beginning of Lord Nityananda's life as an avadut. An avadut means one who has no rules, no regulations, does whatever he wants. And as an avadut, he began traveling. He went to all the holy places throughout India. And in the course of his travels, he met the great devotee Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri had introduced the idea of loving Krishna in the mood of his greatest devotee, Radharani. This conjugal love expressed in spiritual terms is the highest form of love of Godhead. Nanda, they were so overwhelmed with ecstasy to see each other. And after some days, they parted. And at that point, Nityananda Prabhu knew that Lord Chaitanya had appeared. So he started making his way to Navadvip to meet Lord Gauranga. So Lord Gauranga, meanwhile, Lord Chaitanya also knew that Nityananda was coming. As the omniscient personalities of Godhead, they certainly were aware of all of these things. But for their pastimes, they manifested like this. So Lord Chaitanya instructed his followers, go search all throughout Navadvip, find out where is this Nityananda. So Nityananda was staying at the house of one devotee, Nanda, I forgot his name. Nandanacharya, thank you. So Nandanacharya and hosting Lord Nityananda, they'd searched everywhere, they couldn't seem to find him. Finally, long story short, they came together, they embraced, tears fell from their eyes, and they became inseparable. So this is Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. They were not directly born in the same family, but they were of the same spiritual legacy of worshiping Krishna in the mood of unalloyed love. Lord Chaitanya was actually Krishna himself. Lord Chaitanya came because he saw how much joy Radha was getting from Krishna in her devotional relationship. And he wondered, what is that joy of Radharani like? I want to experience that. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He experiences everything. He enjoys everything. He knows everything. But this was one thing he had not had a taste of. So he wanted to come and experience what it was like to be the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. So in this way, he appeared as Lord Chaitanya. Krishna is blackish, but Radha is golden. So Lord Chaitanya's color was golden, like Radharani. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahiyani. This combination of Radha and Krishna has come as Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya was giving freely this most elevated love of Godhead to whomever wanted it. And Nityananda Prabhu assisted him. So in one, Lord Chaitanya would say to Nityananda Prabhu, go out and do kirtan and share Krishna consciousness with everybody. So Nityananda Prabhu and his associate Haridas Thakur, they would go out, and whomever they met, they would tell them about Krishna. This is Lord Chaitanya's instruction. Yaridaha Tarika Krishna Upadesh. Whomever you meet, wherever you go, tell them about Krishna. So they were doing this, and they came upon the most degraded personalities. These were two young men who had been born in very elevated families, the families of Brahmins, priests, but they had become so degraded. They took advantage of their social prestige to cheat people, to exploit people, and they had absolutely no moral scruples whatsoever. Intoxicated, sex mongers, cheaters. This was Jagai and Madai. So they were so offensive that when Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur came to them, humbly asking, please chant Hare Krishna, they laughed at them, mocked them, and sent them away. So at the end of the day, they came back and reported to Lord Chaitanya we met so many interested people, but this Jagai and Madai, they wouldn't even talk to us. They just sent us away and they made fun of us. So Lord Chaitanya said, no, you come to save the most fallen. You go and see them tomorrow. So they did. They went back the next day. And this time, Jagai and Madai were just irritated. Why are you bothering us again? So they became so irritated, they threw a pot of wine at Lord Nityananda, struck him in the head, and drew transcendental blood. So Lord Nityananda was not at all disturbed by this event. And this is very significant because Lord Nityananda never gets angry. He never gets angry. Can anyone think of an example of a time when Lord Nityananda got angry? Okay, Aditi's nodding her head. When Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. Yes. I was thinking of one other instance. But yes, so when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, Lord Nityananda thought, he doesn't need to do that, right? But his anger was not really angry, right? He was quote, yeah, he was angry. On another occasion also, in fact, just after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, because he was angry, Lord Nityananda said, all right, let's go to Lord Chaitanya said, I want to go to Vrindavan. So Lord Nityananda said, all right, I'll take you there. So as they were traveling, Lord Nityananda went ahead and he told some cowherd boys, when you see this crazy sannyasi coming, tell him that the Ganga is the Jamuna River. The Ganga flows in Bengal, but the Jamuna is in Vrindavan, far away. So Lord Chaitanya came chanting in ecstasy and he asked the boys, where is Vrindavan? Oh, sir, this is the Jamuna right here. And Lord Chaitanya became ecstatic. I've made it to Vrindavan. Here's the Jamuna. So just then, Advaita Acharya, who was in on the plot, came rowing up in a boat. So Advaita is a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya who lives in Bengal, in Navadvip. Lord Chaitanya said, Advaita, what are you doing here in Vrindavan? And Advaita very diplomatically said, my Lord, wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. So he said, please come to my house for prasad. And Lord Chaitanya said, well, I've just taken sannyas, so you please know that as a renunciate, I can only eat just a little. Oh, yes, in my house, we only have a little rice, a little subject. So when they came and sat down, there were 2 massive plates of prasadam with dozens of preparations. And Lord Chaitanya said, oh, this must be the deity plate. And Advaita said, yes, just have a seat. So he began feeding him all of this prasadam, opulent prasadam, and Lord Chaitanya was objecting, I'm supposed to be a renunciate. But Lord Nityananda was saying, when are you going to start lunch? Give me a little snack here. I thought I was going to be able to break my fast today. So with this anger, Advaita Acharya responded, who are you anyway? You have no caste, you have no ashram, just some reject Paramahamsa. And when he heard that, Lord Nityananda threw some rice at Advaita. Take your food. I'm not going to eat anymore. You haven't even begun to feed me. Here, take. I thought I was going to eat today. So, and then when Lord Nityananda threw this food and it struck the body of Advaita, he started dancing in ecstasy. So their anger was actually, but Balaram would really get angry, right? He would really get angry. Remember? Like, for example, when he came to visit Vrindavan, where Krishna danced with the gopis, but Krishna was not coming back, so Balaram went on his behalf to meet with all the gopis who didn't get to dance with Krishna when he was there. And they were out in the moonlit night, just in the same mood of Krishna and the gopis. And Balaram was very fond of Varuni, a certain fermented honey beverage, which has an intoxicating effect. So he was drinking Varuni and sporting with the gopis, and they were so active that he started perspiring, and he said, where is the Jamuna? And the gopis said, oh, the Jamuna's over there somewhere, the Jamuna River. And so Balaram said, Jamuna, you come here immediately. And the Jamuna, the goddess Jamuna, did not budge. So he said, if you don't come here immediately, I'm going to bring you here with my plow. And he started hitting the earth with his plow and pulling out and creating huge channels for the Jamuna to flow to them. So the Jamuna came very obediently. I'm sorry. Yes, here, wherever you want, I will flow. That was one. In so many instances, right? Balaram got angry when Samba was kidnapped. Samba was kidnapped by the family of Duryodhana as he was trying to kidnap Lakshmana, the daughter of Duryodhana, as his wife. He was trying to kidnap. So they captured Samba. They had him, held him for ransom, and the family of Samba, Krishna's family, was about to attack the family of Duryodhana. But Balaram said, wait a minute, let's try to work this out. Okay. So Balaram was expert in conciliation and mediation. So he went and he spoke to Duryodhana and his family and said, look, let's see if we can work this out. And the Kuru said, work it out with the Yadus. The Yadus only have a kingdom because we gave it to them. You know, we're like the social head and they're like the social shoes, and the shoes are supposed to go on top of the head. Forget it. So at that point, Balaram, the mediator, became the arbitrator. He said, all right, if that's how you feel about it, we will just pull your city, Hastinapur, into the river, Jamuna. And again, with his fearsome plow, he began pulling the city. The Guru saw that. He said, all right, we've had a change of heart. So Balaram would show this anger, but Nityananda Prabhu, he would not show real anger. And so when he was struck by Jagai and Madhai, he was not the least bit disturbed. He said, that's all right. Please just chant Hare Krishna. Please just chant. But when Lord Chaitanya heard about this, he did not take it so well. How dare these rascals attack my beloved Lord Nityananda? So he immediately came to the spot with his Sudarshan chakra. His chakra is this powerful weapon, which is invincible. And he was prepared to decapitate Jagai and Madhai. So Nityananda Prabhu stood up and said, no, please, you want us to save the most fallen, and here are the most fallen, so you must start with them. So in this way, Lord Nityananda intervened, and Lord Chaitanya was pacified. So when they saw this, Jagai and Madhai realized the error of their ways and surrendered. They saw the great compassion that Lord Nityananda had. Even after being attacked, he was not angry, and he was just trying to help them. So in this way, their hearts were transformed, and they actually were both initiated as Jagannath and Madhava. So this lesson, this pastime is very instructive. Again, Balaram, Nityananda, they are the original spiritual master for all of us who have forgotten Krishna. And as such, their compassion just has no limit. This is why Narottam Das says, we need to catch hold of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. That's a big step, even to just favorably think, okay, Krishna, please accept me. This is the beginning of invoking the compassion of the Guru. When the soul has an inspiration, I'm through with this material life, I've had enough, I want to go back to my Creator, to my Maker, to this loving relationship with my eternal Lord. At that point, Lord Nityananda intervenes. Okay, I am ready to help you. So Jagai and Madhai made Krishna angry. Lord Chaitanya, they made him angry. They made him ready to exercise his power. But Lord Nityananda intervened. So we may even offend Krishna, but if we have the compassion of the Guru, we're all right. But if we offend the Guru, then Nagatir Katopi. There's no saying where we're going to end up, you see. So much more important that we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda than Lord Chaitanya. This is why this day is so important and auspicious. And all we need to do is just have a little desire. I am tired of banging my head against the wall of this material world. No matter what I do, I keep coming up to the same conclusion that I've got everything I wanted and I'm still not happy. This is because the movement of Lord Chaitanya embellishes and gives life to the soul. Anantam buddhi vardhanam. It's not a desert where you get a drop of happiness here and there. It is an ocean of unrelenting ecstasy. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. And giving that, sharing that ocean is the business, especially of Lord Nityananda. It's described that when Lord Chaitanya broke open the storehouse of love of God, it was so full of delicious contents. He began eating, his associates began eating, but the more they ate, the more the supply increased. And so they began shoveling it out the door as fast as they could. And still the supply increased. This is the unlimited ocean of happiness in Krishna consciousness. This is what we seek to share on behalf of Lord Nityananda. Each of us in our own imperfect way, we just try to share it with others. And that life at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda is truly a sublime experience. And it just gets better and better the more we dive in. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. So would anyone else like to share some Nityananda Leela, Prabhupada Priya, Shruti Sagar, any of our pundits? Any questions? Any reflections? Meanwhile, okay. Narottam Prabhu, and we'll get to some more leelas later.
It's coming back to Nityananda's anger, I was just reminded of, I think there's only this one pastime where he kicked a devotee on the pilgrimage. There was a delay in making the arrangements. So
yes, that's a very amusing pastime. There was a devotee named Shivananda Sain who would always manage the pilgrims, just like Parthasarathi is manage the pilgrims from Houston, right? Also menos. So the Shivananda Sain would go ahead and make all the arrangements, and the pilgrims would come and have their places to stay and so forth. So on one occasion, Shivananda Sain went ahead, made arrangements, and he came back, but Nityananda had already arrived. And he said, "Where's my quarters? Where's my prasad?" And Shivananda Sain came running up, and Lord Nityananda kicked him. "You're not ready for me." So Shivananda Sain responded, oh, not only that, he said, yes, he kicked him and he cursed his sons to die. And so Shivananda Sain's wife began crying and crying, "Our sons have been cursed to die by Lord Nityananda." And Shivananda Sain said to her, "We made Lord Nityananda wait for his prasadam. Let our sons die." So, this was all done to glorify Shivananda Sain. There was not real anger there. Gopi Prabhu.
Just really wanted to share one of the qualities of Lord Nityananda, which is extremely relevant to us, is that he is a doshi darsha, which means he doesn't see any faults. And Prabhupada carried that mood as well. One of Prabhupada's godbrothers explained that Prabhupada was actually a Shaktives avatar of Lord Nityananda, meaning that he had the full potency of Lord Nityananda. If Lord Nityananda were to go on a world tour trying to convert everyone or share Krishna consciousness, it would be the same effect as what Prabhupada achieved. And we can see in Prabhupada's life and his interactions with his Western disciples that he didn't see any faults, and he engaged them in whatever way he could, and he saw that spark, he saw that love for Krishna and everyone, and he fanned that spark. And I was walking around the Durban, South Africa temple once, and Mahatma Prabhu and Bhakti Marg Swami were having a conversation, and I was fortunate to be walking right behind them. And they were lamenting that to some extent, we're out of touch with that mood of Prabhupada. Whereas in Prabhupada's time, the door for entry was really, really big. And in some circumstances today, unfortunately, we make the door a little bit narrow, and we bar entry to some extent. So I want to take the risk.
Let's move on. No,
in the spirit of Lord Nityananda, I'm going to take the risk and break the rules a little bit, and I just want to glorify Kalakantha Prabhu, Shruti, Nanda, Prabhupada Priya, Krishna House, all the devotees here for carrying that mood of Prabhupada and Lord Nityananda, and just accepting anyone who wants to learn about Krishna and inspiring them and fanning that spark. So I think that's the greatest service we can do for Lord Nityananda and for Prabhupada, to carry that mood with us and treat people like they would have treated them. So let's keep inspiring each other to do that.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yes, Krishna consciousness is more infectious than COVID. Just present it and remove any sort of material filters. Seeing everybody as a spirit soul, it's true. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema Sadhukavanoy. Loving Krishna is dormant in the heart of everybody. When we're out on Krishna lunch, try imagining each person you are serving as having tilak. this person is a devotee. This person's a devotee. They just don't realize it. Shruti Sagar Prabhu.
Krishna Abhishek Prabhu had made this point. I can't remember which class, but maybe here somewhere else. He was talking about Lord Nityananda as an Avaduta, and he was saying Avaduta just doesn't mean some crazy person, but also he said that Lord Nityananda was making a point, especially at that time, that all these certain hierarchies and standards that people were following in the Vedic Hindu society back then, Lord Nityananda, also Lord Chaitanya, of course, they were kind of discarding it. And Advaitacharya supported it because for somebody to be even, back then it's like to be even be under the shadow of somebody who's not in the Varnashram system per se was not something you'd want. And so Advaitacharya wanted Nityananda Prabhu to throw some of his remnants to honor him, to prove that yes, he's higher than me. Actually, this Avaduta is higher than me, because Advaitacharya was this really learned scholar. All the Brahmanas will look up to him. So he made that point with Lord Nityananda, and Krishna Abhishek Prabhu was saying same thing with Gopi Prabhu was saying that our acharyas also follow that mood that we are going to do what's best for sharing Krishna consciousness, and might not fit the exact whatever so-called standards of Vedic standards, whatever it is, we'll do it. And Prabhupada did that and so forth. So and Lord Nityananda's mood. Other pastimes I was thinking of this. Lord Nityananda has so many funny pastimes. And I was thinking of this one time, I think it's in the chip, maybe that's not in the CC, but somewhere else, how there was this group of dacoits, and they saw Lord Nityananda doing Harinam, and they saw him, he was wearing the silk robes and jewels of all kind. The group leader thought, okay, we're gonna go get all that. So in the middle of the night, when Lord Nityananda was sleeping, they were all sleeping, and they were planning to go. But then the first time, I think the dacoits themselves by Nityananda's burden, they kept sleeping. They couldn't go. They tried again. Next time, they were chasing after Lord Nityananda, but they kept running, but they saw that they were in the same spot after a while. So there's so many things kept happening. And then finally, the dacoit leader, he thought, this must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So all the dacoits took shelter of Lord Nityananda.
Thank you very much. Yes, the tradition would not allow people like us to practice Krishna consciousness unless we're born in high-class families and had all the rituals and the rites, and Lord Nityananda broke down all those those barriers through Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Yes, Prabhupada Priya.
There's this really nice song by Lochandas Thakur, Akroda Paramananda Nityananda Roy, and it shows that mood of Lord Nityananda. So I'll read the translation. The noble Lord Nityananda is never angry, for he is the personification of supreme transcendental bliss. Devoid of any concept of false ego, Nitai wanders about the town. Going from door to door in the residences of the most fallen and wretched souls, he freely distributes the gift of he just goes door to door, knocking on people's doors, and he doesn't go, he goes to the houses of the most fallen and wretched souls. He exclaims to whomever he sees while holding straw between his teeth, please purchase me by worshiping Gaura Hari. So straw between his teeth is like a Vedic sign of humility, that I'm considering myself basically like an animal, like a cow that chews grass. And I'm approaching you as you're, like just to humbly beg something from you. Saying that thus, Nityananda Prabhu rolls about on the ground, appearing like a golden mountain tumbling in the dust. Lochandas Thakur says, whoever has not experienced the awakening of affection for such an avatar as this, that sinful person simply comes and goes uselessly in the cycle of repeated birth and death. So it's good to hear about the mood and the pastimes of Lord Nityananda, so that we can awaken some affection for him.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, the straw in the teeth, if you have a straw in the teeth, it means you can't speak. can't. So that's why you put the straw in the teeth. I'm just going to hear from you. I'm not going to try to say anything. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Anything else? I want to recognize one of our. Oh, we'll go. Go ahead, Riha. Riha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we met a devotee in New Talavan, and he said something that was confusing to me. He was explaining that when Lord Chaitanya saw what happened to, I think, Srivas Thakur, when Gopal Chapala set him up with the Durga paraphernalia in front, he was so upset that he cursed this Brahmin to get leprosy and like to take millions of births or something really heavy. And I was also thinking of what happened to Chota Haridas, apparently very small thing, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict. I was thinking, why didn't Lord Nityananda intervene in those instances?
In those two cases. Everything that Krishna does, he does for a reason, and that reason is inscrutable sometimes. You know, for example, when Lord Rama stole the cowherd boys and calves, Balaram didn't know what was going on. It was his birthday, so he was at home. He didn't see the whole event, and he couldn't tell. Even he couldn't tell that the boys and calves were replaced. So Lord Nityananda is subordinate to Lord Chaitanya, even though sometimes he challenges him, like taking his danda when he took sannyas and breaking it into 3 pieces and throwing it in the river. But he's doing that for a purpose. Similarly, in these instances you mentioned, the Lord had certain purposes to accomplish. For Junior Haridas, his purpose, he was someone in the renounced order. So even though he didn't externally or superficial, or I should say physically, transgress the rules of sannyas, even just by speaking with a woman, he had done so in Lord Chaitanya's mind. So Lord Chaitanya was showing in that pastime how very, very strict he was. And of course, Chota Haridas was a great devotee. There's no need for Lord Nityananda to intervene, you see. And as far as the other pastime, again, Lord Chaitanya was showing, just as Shruti had mentioned, how all the Vedic rules and regulations were secondary to the Sankirtan movement. Like we talk about Varnashram Dharma, but it's secondary to Bhakti. Bhakti is the goal of Varnashram. Bhakti is the goal of all the Vedas. Vedaisya sarvairaham eva vedyo. They're meant for loving Krishna. So if people get hung up on the details, Lord Chaitanya was showing this is inappropriate, and Lord Nityananda did not intervene. Okay. So any.
Bringing, we have a God conscious Catholic, and now she's just like super moved that we chose to live this Krishna conscious life we're practicing. And so for me, I feel like I want to give back to her, and I want to give her Krishna consciousness and just be supportive of her in any way that I can. But she's been, very loving and supportive, and she even now she just wants to give me whatever I want to, like come here to Krishna house and be just have good sadhana. She supported me while I was in India, and she's constantly supporting my brother also.
Wonderful.
So very she goes to the temple in New Jersey. She tries to be with devotees as much as possible, and she's always sending me posts from Facebook that are in Spanish. So, can you explain this to me? And, yeah.
Thank you very much, Mildred, for coming. We're very honored to have you. Well, would you like to say something?
She's saying that she's feeling very, very grateful because everyone and you, yourself, Kalakantha Prabhu, have been very instructive and very instrumental in Kevin's life and supporting him. So she's feeling very grateful to be here and be here a part of his initiation day. And many others.
Thank you. You have two wonderful children. We're all so fond of them. So you're very fortunate. Thank you for coming. We're very honored that you would come. Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Seth? So today is a fast day, except for Sadhu Sangha and Seva. And great way to serve Lord Nityananda, to go out and distribute the mercy, Krishna consciousness through prasadam and the holy name. And books also, right? And books. Although that's not our focus here, Gopi is going to try to distribute some books on behalf of Lord Nityananda today. Right? And anyone would like to join him. And at 5:30 this evening, is it 5 or 5:30? 5:30, we'll reconvene here. I just did want to mention, everyone knows Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris is the official photographer of this event tonight. And so we hope to get a group photo inside the temple room. This is going to require some jujitsu and yoga poses, asanas, and so forth. What's that? Yes, for those who haven't met him, Anthony from Pennsylvania is an expert yogi. He's checking out bhakti here in the ashram. So you can lead everyone in getting in position for the photo tonight. All right. So no, tonight. Tonight, yeah. All right. Anything else, Prabhu?
I could meet with the respective leaders after this. Figure out a few things for the day.
Respective, you mean the men's and for Dallas, Houston, and Gainesville ashram leaders, please come meet with Shruti and Kameshi. Where and when? Okay, right here. Okay. All right. And thank you again. Oh, I see another mother in the back there. She's so humble, she's just staying outside of the temple. So Lakshmi Priya is the mother of Gandiva and Krishna, Arjuna Krishna here, who are getting initiated today. She's also made the trip from Dallas. Jai. There you go. How are you? All right, good to see you. So I wanted to tell you your pastimes, but I think I'll wait till tonight. Okay. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for being here, and we'll see you this evening we'll see you on campus, and then again this evening at 5. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, Prabhupada Priya, you had an announcement? Okay, all right, check. All glory